Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Cigar Chat, brought to you live on CigarFederation.com. Broadcast around the world in the Armed Forces Radio Network. Thank you for tuning in wherever you are out there in the world today. Happy belated Memorial Day. Robbie Raz here with you as always. Out in sunny California, Logan has got his grumpy pants on again.
Dude.
In Texas. So you guys you're not in the flood zone in Texas?
I am not in the flood zone, although I had to drive across town. And so, Allie, why do you always ask questions that are going to lead to like a 20-minute story? But anyways, my wife grew up in Lubbock, right, where it's flat, you know, in East or West Texas. And she's like terrified of tornadoes. So I'm like out running some errands. It's raining and stuff. And she's like, oh, my God, a twister touchdown in Round Rock, a twister touchdown in Round Rock. And I'm like, okay, where is it? She's like, a twister, twister, twister. And I'm just like, babe, I'm looking at the radar. There is no twister. And so basically she's got me freaking out that there's a twister. Then she goes dark and doesn't answer my texts or anything. So I'm driving this rainstorm. It's like Forrest Gump. The rain's blowing in sideways. And I thought there was a tornado, and there's no tornado. But it did flood out. I mean, like, there was literally houses that got swept away in downtown Austin. It was crazy, dude.
No, I had no idea. My wife sent me a text this morning. She said, is Logan okay? I was like, I guess. Like, why would
That's why I love Dana. She's always caring about me.
Yeah. She, well, I think, yeah, she cares about you.
Thank you, Dana.
In an indirect kind of way.
Thank you, Dana.
Anyway, no, that's. I hope everybody out there is okay, because that looked kind of brutal. Anyway, back to the topic at hand. We've got Tony Boletto here joining us from Lost and Found and La Barba and everything. So, Tony, how's it going, man?
Good. How's it going, guys?
Good. I thought you couldn't hear me there for a second. Was I talking too loud?
No, I got you. There's a little bit of a delay, I guess.
Well, Logan, can you work on that?
No.
Can you call up Google and...
Can I call up the page guy and Sergey Brin and tell them to take their billions and fix their damn thing?
I don't even know what that means, man.
Those are the founders of Google.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, call him. So anyway,
I just probably have to pay my internet bill.
Well, there's that. You know, you can only steal off the neighbors so long. It slows down.
Right.
And you know, when you're trying to download some movies for personal time, it takes a little too long. You know, that's
I've reached my what do they call that?
Your data limit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You got to watch out for those data limits. My wife and I share our phone data, and somehow we never go over. I don't know how, but anyway, data runs out. So that's basically the crux of that story. So let's see, Tony. We had you on a couple months ago, and we were talking about La Barba. Actually, that was about a year ago.
That was like 8 months ago.
Yeah. Well, I think you were at opening day, weren't you? So it was maybe.
No, it was after IPCPR.
Yeah, we were smoking the purple. I remember that.
The purple drank, dog.
Yeah. That purple drink. That's a good cigar. So that had to be last year. Wow. Time flies when you're smoking good cigars. So speaking of which, I'm smoking the Lost and Found Racks on Racks. This is my second one of the pack that I picked up, and I really dig this cigar. This is it's right in my wheelhouse. It kind of I can see it being a little bit outside of Logan's wheelhouse, but I know he likes it too. But it's got a nice little spice to it and some sweetness from the wrapper. Pairing it with a nice cappuccino stout from Lagunitas, and so I'm just kind of enjoying myself. Logan, what are you smoking?
I was smoking the Racks on Racks, but I'm smoking something else now. But not.
Oh, I knew what you were smoking, and you can't tell people about it. That's my bad.
Yeah.
So Tony, what are you smoking?
I'm smoking a Siempre Robusto.
So we're going to talk about the Siempre.
The
we're going to talk about the Siempre here in a little bit as well. So give everybody some background. I mean, Lost and Found has been really hot lately, you know, with a lot of the releases, Racks on Racks included. Give everybody kind of a background on what the idea is behind Lost and Found.
Well, you guys all know that Robbie Caldwell's a really good friend of mine, and he is Mr. Jet Setter. So he's always all over the place. Nicaragua, Honduras, Dominican Republic, etc. And he's always busting into people's aging rooms and walking around taking people's stuff. And when a couple times him and I would go down there, and he would come back or walk into someone's aging room and hand me this, and he'd be like, "Smoke this." Like, okay, I don't know, and he wouldn't tell me what it was. So I'd smoke it. I'd be like, this is the greatest cigar ever. He's like, this is a 12-year-old so-and-so, or this is a 10-year-old so-and-so. And I never knew like how he was getting his hands on this stuff. And he basically just found out that a lot of people make a lot of cigars, but not all of them get out there. So Lost and Found is we're not taking seconds, we're not taking any of that stuff. We're taking stuff that people made that just for one reason or another never made it. So, for example, a cigar company might go out of business, or somebody might not want it, or whatever. It doesn't matter what the reason is. The cigars are there and they're beautiful. And it started with kind of, he would bring them back and send me some and say, hey, smoke these are great. And then I would say, hey, was there any more of those? Can you bring me back more on your next trip? Like 10 bundles. So then he would bring me back like 10 bundles of them. And I'd say, how many are left? And he's like, oh, there's like 3,000 of them in this warehouse somewhere. So our idea was, why can't we just bring that to you guys and say, okay, these cigars have been sitting around for a while. It doesn't matter what they used to be. They're just good cigars. And it's a complicated kind of way to think, but I always equate it to, in France, there's guys called negociants, and what they do is basically the same thing as what we're doing with Lost and Found, is they just find great wine from producers and just release it under their name as a negociant. So like Louis Latour is one of them, Georges Duboeuf is one of them. There's a lot of different guys out there, Albert Bijot, that do this. They have a house and they say, well, you guys are really good at making wine. Keep doing that. Keep being really good at making wine. And what we'll do is we'll take it and we'll show it to people, and we'll show them how great your wine is. And I guess that's essentially where the Lost and Found idea was born, in saying that a lot of these cigars don't make it to the U.S. A lot of these cigars don't get out of the aging rooms. A lot of these cigars are for, the brand owners to smoke. A lot of them are just for handing out to people in, down in the DR. They're just really, really good cigars that don't get a lot of play because it's not what, somebody specifically ordered. It's just something that they're making. Because you make a lot of cigars when you go through test blends and stuff like that, and some of them are good. They just might not be exactly what you want at that time. So I think that's an important point to get across with Lost and Found, is that they're not seconds, and they're not dead. They're not dead cigars. They're just cigars that are really good. If that makes any sense at all.
Question. So what percentage? The whole big thing is that you don't disclose, even though people have made guesses on releases, what certain cigars are. But what percentage of the Lost and Found impromptu, aka formerly known as Boleto, Caldwell, and Sears, have been released that were cigars that have been on the market and then just are old and maybe they didn't sell through all of them, or maybe they overrun or whatever, versus ones that have never hit the market? Half and half, 75-25?
Yeah, I don't know. Right now, we found a lot at the beginning and we wanted to get them out there. Now we're kind of on a hiatus, just trying to find new cool stuff. But I would say, I have no idea, man. Like probably 25% or something at one time or another. 75% we're going to be something. I don't know. I really don't know. It's funny because, he'll just send me cigars and I'll say yes or no.
Okay.
Some of them I don't even know what they are.
So that actually, you alluded to a point that leads right into a question here that I'm going to go ahead and ask here. This one's from Trip Waldrop, and Trip was on our recent cigar safari. Got to hang out with Trip and do some zip lining, even though we tried to talk each other out of it. Zip lining is a lot of fun, by the way.
It is.
I saw Logan post that he was doing some zip lining.
Dude, I was the only one that wasn't scared.
You had done it before.
Dude, I went on one in Costa Rica where it's like a mile long and you're going over like a volcano. And I was like, this Nicaraguan thing ain't got crap on that. But everyone's over there pissing in their pants, like worried. And I told you, the worst part was the bridge. Was I not wrong?
Well, see, the whole thing was, like, when we start climbing up in the trees, you get on the platforms.
Yeah, dude, that's the worst part.
It had kind of like an Endor kind of Ewok feel to me, so I was on board at that point. But it was Trip and Jimmy and I were sitting in the back of the bus, and we were all three of us were a little bit trepidatious, and we kind of were talking to each other about it and exponentially talking each other out of it in the hour-and-a-half trip that it took to get up to the top of the mountain. So you know how that can be when you start talking yourself out of something. But anyway, let me get back to this question. He says, it seems like the market it seems like Lost and Found has slowed down over the last few months. I mean, you guys came out with a bang, a bunch of releases. Like you were saying, you found a bunch of stuff, you wanted to get it out as quickly as you could. But then it's kind of slowed down. I mean, the Racks and Racks came out, but then that's been about it for a while. Even though, I mean, it's only been a few months, we're kind of pushy. He says, what is your plan moving forward to avoid kind of exhausting the market a little bit too fast? Like maybe you had enough, all those cigars, like you were saying, you want to get them out quickly. Maybe in the future, would you think about spreading those releases out or something to that effect to kind of keep that magic going?
I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely something to think about, but fortunately and unfortunately, you know, we have to make a judgment call on when these cigars are ready to smoke. You know, some of them are from 2007, 2008, when they were made, and, you know, we smoke them and make a judgment call. We say, well, you know, at this point, you know, the cigar's going like this, and then and I know a lot of people can't see me, but, you know, it's going up and up and up and up and up, and you reach a plateau, and then it starts to go down a little bit, and what we try to do is grab it right at its peak and when it's going to be the best that it can be, and we don't really have a choice as to, you know, when we're going to release it or when it's going to come out, because they've already been sitting in aging rooms for so long. It's just now we smoke it and we say, okay, now it's time to pull the trigger on these because they're perfect now, if that makes any sense. So we're not really, you know, I wish that we were a little bit more concerned about the timing of the releases, but I think that we're doing it right because that's when we think the cigar should be released. You know, and right now, you know, there's a couple that we've been smoking that are good, but they're not ready yet. So we're not taking a break because we think we're releasing too many cigars. We're taking a break because we just don't have anything right now that we think is ready to go. And it, you know, Rob has a great palate, Jacqueline has a great palate. My palate's only okay compared to theirs.
But you're the sum of the group. Are you just
yeah, but I'm Ben Stein.
No, you are, dude. You are. Last time it was Purple Drink. Now hashtag Ben Stein.
Yeah, no emotion whatsoever. No, but I'm serious, man. Like we don't know what's gonna happen. You know, we could smoke it and think it's great and think that this is gonna be the time that it needs to be smoked, and that's when it'll release. You know, I don't want to wear out the market. I think it's a great concept, and I'm gonna keep pushing forward and take all the flack I can take, and you know, do what I can do.
No, that was an interesting question, and I like the way that you answered it because it puts things into perspective that I think the average cigar smoker doesn't necessarily think about. I mean, when you talk about these cigars are old, they're aged cigars. So why don't you just, as soon as you get them, you can decide when, if you've got a cigar now, say, hey, we want to release this in August. But you might smoke it again in August, and it kind of hits like a little bit of a dead period because it is that old. I mean, I don't understand the chemistry of why the flavor gets better and then it gets worse and then it gets better again, but it happens. So that's the kind of thing that the average guy picking up some cigars doesn't really think about. So it kind of puts things into perspective. So that's good. I'm glad we asked that question.
And you know, I think it's our job as, you know, seekers of fine things in the Lost and Found project or cigar manufacturers, as far as, you know, La Barba and Siempre, and, you know, I don't want to speak for Robbie, but as far as that's concerned, is, you know, we're trying to bring things to market that you guys can smoke. You know, and when I drink wine, I try to buy stuff that I know is ready to drink. I don't want to hold on to it, man. I mean, that's what I love about it. I want to buy it, I want to drink it, I want to buy it, I want to smoke it. It's our job to make sure that it's ready to be smoked or drank now. It shouldn't be. It's fun to do that. It's fun to buy wines and put them away. It's fun to buy beers, you know, high alcohol beers, and put them away and age them yourself. But it's also fun to go to the store, buy a cigar, buy a bottle of wine, and go home and drink it. And I think that's the concept we're shooting for with Lost and Found is, you know, it's our job to take that guesswork out of it for you. So we're asking for a lot of trust in trusting our palates and saying that this is what we think is good to go. But, you know, I think that a lot of the people that have been buying it and have been trusting our palates have been happy with the flavors and the components they've been getting out of the Lost and Found stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, this is actually the first Lost and Found that I've smoked. I haven't been able to get my hands on any of the other ones, but I'm really enjoying it. I think that it's remarkably smooth. It's really, really smooth. There's a nice little pepper that comes in the retro, but there's not a lot of it. It's a pretty smooth cigar.
And
go ahead.
I was going to say that's the first Maduro that we've done that's been all Maduro, and it's you know, that's another one, that a perfect example of a tobacco that just takes a really long time. When Well, no, we did the stout. I'm sorry. I misspoke. I forget all of these things now. No, but, I mean, the stout was the same. The stout was the same thing, and it was, we smoked it, and we were like, well, I don't know. And this was like the beginning of the project, and then we kept smoking them, and saying, all right, now it's time. Those cigars were 6 or 7 years old by the time they started to really get their maximum potential.
Wow.
So, some of them are younger. Some of them get better younger. You never know. So, but I appreciate that. I'm glad you like it.
No, yeah, I'm enjoying it.
Logan liked it. Though.
I'm not giving Logan any credit at all. I'm giving all the credit goes to you guys. It's
hey man, don't look at me, man. Hey, if you want a cigar, if Logan whips up a cigar, you might have something crazy in it. You might get a fake Cuban with like G.I. Joes mixed up in the filler. You have no idea what you're gonna get.
Some Sergeant Slaughter filler there.
Yeah, you might get Stretch fucking Armstrong. Who knows?
I have to go edit that out now.
I know. I just said it, and I'm sorry. I apologize.
Write down the time. What time?
I'm looking at the time right now.
17 minutes in.
Edit.
My
bad.
I'm going to follow this up with another question from Trip. Trip's on fire, man. He says, have you guys ever found a batch of cigars that you decided to keep for yourselves? They were so good that you just said, we've only got, maybe 500. Let's just keep them in
Silent Shout.
Yeah, Silent Shout. Yeah, Silent Shout was one of them that I really didn't want to do out of total selfish reasons. That was one of my... I used to go down, and every time I would go to the factory, I would walk in the aging room, and I would buy and bring home these little Connecticut's. And I brought back... I remember the one time I was going through customs, and I'm with my dad, and you're only allowed to bring 100 cigars back. I had an entire carry-on suitcase full of... It was right when I got done doing the perp, and I brought back these little Connecticut's that I found, and I had literally like 400 cigars in one suitcase. Mm. So they pull me into this room, and they open up my suitcase. And my dad's standing next to me, and he has an entire suitcase filled with cigars and coffee as well. So they open up our suitcases, and I mean, we both look like, my dad has a mustache and black and gray hair. He's Italian, but he looks like Pablo Escobar. I'm not that far away from looking like a Colombian myself. So they're looking at us, and they're like, look at the cigars, and they're looking at us. And I kind of gave them like I'm sorry, like you can charge me taxes if you want kind of face. And they brought this guy over with this suitcase. And they open up his suitcase, and it is filled with narcotics, like to the brim. Pills, needles, bags of heroin, and they look at me and my dad with our cigars and coffee, and they look at this guy with the drugs, and they looked at me and he points at me and he goes, "You're allowed to go, and you're going to jail," and points at the guy. They just whisked him back and take him away. So I made it through, luckily, by the unfortunate mishap of somebody else, but I ended up making it through customs with all of them.
That's a great story.
But Every time I would go down there, that's what I would do, is I would grab these, and bring them home and smoke them. It was like my everyday smoke, and then that's where the rest of them was what we put in.
It's like 400, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't even remember how many it was.
It wasn't very many.
That sounds like a cigar.
Go ahead. Block 15 was another one that we really liked. There was only like 100 cigars.
How many releases have you guys done? Total. How many releases total?
We did Pepper Cream Soda, Backdoor Bambi, One Night Stand, Lost Reserve. That's 4. Then we did Cream Machine, Holy Grail, Buck 15, and Silent Shout. That's 8. Then we did Pepper Cream, Pigeon, the Swollen Beak,
Rebel, Spam Artist,
Rebel Bingo, and Spam Artist. So that's 13. And then Racks on Racks was 14.
There you go.
14 releases in, what, like 2 years?
No, man, not even. We didn't even have Lost and Found last year when we talked.
Like a year and 3 months?
Yeah, a year and change, I think, because we did, I'll tell you when it was. It was February of last year. So it's been a year.
Okay.
It was a year February. Because we did the Valentine's Day party at the shop, Havana House, for the pepper creams.
Wow, and it's funny, and we're saying that, oh, well, you think you guys have slowed down lately? It's 14 releases in just over a year. Nobody's ever happy, man.
No.
Well, I mean, we found those, and we were like, all right, we got to get them out, and we did have the conversation. Should we wait? Should we do this? And we ended up saying, you know what? Cigars are ready to smoke. We want to get them out there. We want to get these guys smoking them. And now we don't have anything. You know, the stuff that we're finding now, we're kind of like, man, it'll take a little bit of time, and you know, we're happy with it, but it still is going to take a little bit of time. And you know, I don't know, we might come out and have 20 more in a year from now. It might be a month from now. I have no idea. You know, there's a lady in France. She's like the biggest pain in the butt negociant in France. Her last name is Watts. Looks like Leroy. And she will only, and this is kind of a page that I took from that book, is she'll only release something when she thinks it's absolutely ready to drink, or she'll never release it at all. So she could never release another wine again for her entire career if she doesn't think it's ready to drink.
Wow.
And like for example, Chardonnay doesn't age that well. I mean, usually, you know, on crappier Chardonnays, you're looking at like 5 years maximum. Well, last year she finally released a 99 because she thought it was ready to drink. So I picked it up, and it was the most amazing Chardonnay I've ever had in my life. There was no brown color to it. It wasn't oxidized. It was perfectly golden. And, like, she knows what she's talking about. So every time I buy a bottle of that Raw stuff, it's all Burgundy. So it's either Chardonnay or Pinot Noir. Every time I buy a bottle of it, I know it's going to be awesome. It's going to be on point. She has a reputation for being kind of pushy and kind of, you know, if we don't think it's right, we're never going to release it. I think that's where we're at in Lost and Found, and that's kind of where we're at in our heads with what we want to do. It's a fun project, and you know, it could be done tomorrow if we don't find anything that we think is worthy of being involved in the project. You know.
Right.
So there's there's some respect to the craft there. It's more about the experience of, you know, what you're drinking or what you're smoking, as opposed to you know, I've got all these bottles that I need to get rid of. You know, I mean, she doesn't care. Obviously she's doing pretty well if she can run her business that way. So good for her. But that's right. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, I got a question. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. Finish.
I was going to say, and you know, Robbie's focus is on Caldwell Cigar Company. That's his baby. You know, that's his bread and butter. That's what, you know, keeps his lights on, and that's what I want him to focus on, because I love his stuff, and I love what their company's doing, and I love everybody in the company. This is more like something that we started doing a while ago before Caldwell was Caldwell, and then now it's kind of turned into this thing where let's have fun with it, and if it continues to go on the path that it's going, then let's keep going that way. You know, and I have La Barba, now I have Siempre, and I have the shops, and I'm working on a champagne, it's actually a cava with my partners from Treasure Hunter, and you know, we all got a lot of stuff going on, but at the end of the day, like, we find this stuff, and why can't you guys have it too? Why do I just get to have it? I'm not that selfish.
No, you're Ben Stein. Ding ding. All right, so Ben Stein. Next cigar you come out with should be Dry Eyes. Dude, please do it.
Dry Eyes. I'll make a commercial.
Dude, like with an old like Corojo wrapper that's kind of like red and a little bit mottled. Dude, that'd be beautiful. So, question. So, and the whole point of Lost and Found, I think this question is going to come up, so I'm going to just go ahead and ask it, is that up until kind of this last big release that happened, I don't know, a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, no one had really any clue what the cigars were. And then this last release, people have pegged, you know, a couple of the cigars for like the pepper cream chocolate crushes, you know, an old Camacho and stuff, where in all the other releases were very, very different. Well, this set was very similar. What was your thought process going from, hey, we don't know what the hell these things are, to something that people could kind of guess fairly easily and people were able to pin down on what they were? Was that by accident and that just happened to be what factory you're in? Like, how did that happen?
It kind of just happened. We were going back and forth, and we're like, what are we going to do with these things? It's a fairly obvious shape, which is what kind of killed it. But you know, we didn't mean for it all to happen at once. It all just kind of happened at once because they were all smoking really, really good. Like, it wasn't like oh, this one smokes better than this one. We'll do this then. We'll do this later. Blah 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 blah. It was like they're all smoking really good, and it's cool to do kind of a vertical experience on what that cigar had going on for it, you know. And I think that was the kind of the fun part about that release is you get to do, you know, you get to have that vertical. We even talked about doing them in a vertical pack because we all thought they were excellent, and we were thinking about just lining them up like 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010 in a pack, but we just decided on the way we decided to do it. But yeah, that's how that happened. We kind of smoked them, and there was quite a few in that little spurt of things that we were finding that were really good, but we decided to stick with those because we thought they were good right then. We thought they were all really good to smoke, and that's it.
Okay. Well, Logan, are you done, or do you still have more? Do you want to?
No. I mean, if there's
do you want to probe more? Is there more?
No,
probing?
I'm not probing. I mean, it's just a question, man.
Well, like, the question is, you're probing for information. It's just probing is kind of an uncomfortable term for. Oh, anyway, moving on. Question from Charlie, and I'm going to paraphrase this question here. Why don't you guys use bands on any of the Lost and Found stuff?
Because, again, we had 14 releases. We'd have to make 14 different bands.
That's a cluster.
Means,
that's a cluster.
Well, and they get expensive too when you're. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, bands cost money. You gotta buy a die. You gotta buy all the stampers. You gotta buy all the cutters. You gotta buy. You know, and it's not a thing that we're gonna. You know, once the pepper creams were gone, that's it. You know, we'll never use the bands again. So we gotta buy them in 50,000 band quantities, and we're making 3,000 cigars. I mean, I'm sure we could make some universal band, but I mean, it really won't do the cigar justice because they're all named different names.
Yeah.
You know, I wish we could because it would be. They'd be more of a recognizable cigar, but you know, at the end of the day, you know, is it really that important to add $1 on a stick because we need bands? You know, and you know, I don't know. I mean, some cigars, yeah. You know, La Barba, I think that it deserves a band. You know, as far as it doesn't deserve a band, but you know, we're making the cigar all the time, is what I mean by deserves. You know, we buy the die is paid for itself over time, so I can keep the prices of the cigars consistent.
Yeah, no,
if we have to buy a new, you know, die cuts cost $2,000. So if we buy a different die and a different cut every time, you know, it gets pretty costly.
Yeah, that's.
And we have to reflect that on.
Sorry, I keep cutting you off because we have a little bit of delay. I apologize.
It's okay. And the other thing is to at the end of the. Never mind, I forgot what I was going to say. I had a glass of rye and I can't even remember anything. Go ahead.
It's happened to the best of us, man. I kind of like the fact that they don't have bands, which Logan will tell you really goes against my thoughts just on branding in general.
Yeah.
I like the idea. It just, I don't know, for some reason you crack open the package. They all have their own little package and the sticker on there and everything. I mean, the way the Racks on Racks was packaged up was really cool. It had the little tag on it. It felt like you were getting a Christmas present. And it gives it that air of feeling a bit more limited to me. So anyway,
and they are really limited. I mean,
absolutely.
I mean, they are exactly what they are.
Yeah. And speaking of limited, by the way, in the store, if you don't want to buy an 8-pack, you can get a 4-pack now. Store.cigarfederation.com. The Racks on Racks. Shameless plug.
No, definitely. This is like I said. This is only the second one that I've smoked, and I'm gonna once we get offline, I'm gonna make sure that Logan puts back a couple of bundles for me because I want some more of these.
I will. Your cash spins well, Robbie.
You guys are the only ones that got them. I didn't even get any.
You didn't get any?
Dude, you didn't get any?
I'll send you some.
You didn't really get any for reals.
I swear to you, I don't have 1 pack.
I'm gonna email you. Dude, I'm emailing you right now to get your freaking home address, and I'll send you. Man, this is effed up that you make the dang cigar and you didn't even smoke it.
I've smoked them. I didn't get them. I don't have a finished package.
What if I sign a finished package for you?
You should.
And sign it like XOXO Ben Stein. How about that?
That's perfect.
Dude, done. I'm doing
it.
it.
Legitimately, we packaged them all up and sent every one to you. I smoked the cigars, obviously, before we sent them to you. It wasn't just a blind, like, here's a bunch of cigars for you. No, we smoked them, and I've had them quite a few times. I don't have a finished package. I didn't get a one for my trophy wall, you know.
You didn't get a one for the trophy wall. I'll send you one for the trophy wall.
Well, here's what you're going to do, Logan. In that package, take the cigars out and put something else in there because he's not going to smoke them anyway.
This is true.
And then send the cigars to me.
This is true.
That's
I mean,
perfect.
I could do that.
Just send me the empty package.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
You see?
I smoked enough of them.
You see what I'm saying? Oh, there's always an angle. There's always an angle. So let's move on here. Another question here from Charlie. So the next Lost and Found release, which we posted a press release on Cigar Federation, is Fresh Roasted. That's a store specific for Cigar Circus, I believe. So give us some background. Yeah, give us a little background on that.
It was Guido at the Humidor in Wichita, and he asked me to come last year.
Retard.
Yeah.
I like that.
So
guy,
he asked
man.
me. I love him. So he asked me to come last year, and I literally fell down a hole. It's a very long story. I fell down a mine shaft, and I couldn't make it.
Are you being serious or like facetious?
I swear to you. No, I swear to you. I literally fell down a mine shaft in an abandoned building.
Were you spelunking?
Unfortunately, I was not spelunking. If I was spelunking, I would have not fallen down the hole. I was trying not to spelunk, and I.
Was it like a far fall? Did you break like a leg or like an arm or?
Yeah, I had some issues. I couldn't walk for a little bit.
Are you being serious? Like, I'm not trying to laugh at your situation here,
no,
but I mean, I'm really not sure if you're joking or not right now.
Because I'm Ben Stein.
Because I'm Ben Stein.
I can send you a picture of my knee, man, and like my wounds. I decided to take a walk one night with a bottle of wine.
Okay.
And I found an abandoned factory. And it had a big. I live in Youngstown, so it's steel mills.
Right.
And they had this big coal chute, and it was dark, and I fell down this hole.
Oh, dude.
And it was about 40 feet, and I landed in water, but it was like this rust water that has been there since 1950. So I scraped the entire inside of my left arm, the entire inside of my right arm. I split my knee open. I cut it down the side. I popped it out of place. I think I split my kneecap. I walked to Walgreens.
How'd you get out?
Yeah, that was my next question.
I climbed. So it was where it was. It was the water was so far up the floor that I landed. I was close to the roof, so the water was about 10 feet deep, and it was right near the top, like the ceiling. So I grabbed onto the sprinkler pipes, and I just like hand over hand it till I got to the end, and then there was a gap in the wall that I found, and I kind of inched my way up it. Then I walked to Walgreens. I got butterfly Band-Aids and fixed myself up, and then I went to my doctor the next day and told him the story, and he laughed at me, and I got about $700 worth of shots.
Oh, dude, because I mean, I gotta think you, like, with all that water, like getting infections and.
There was all kinds of stuff swimming around in there that you don't want to know.
Dude, I'm really seeing like poor Ben Stein here, like in a hole. I was like, how'd you get out? Your cell phone was wet. Like, how did you call for help? Was it like Lassie saying, Little John or whatever? Like, dude.
Trouble at the old mill?
Dude, for real, trouble at the old mill, man.
And I have to give a product plug, as I had a LifeProof case, and I was able to use it under, like, in the water, because I was covered. I was all the way up to my head in water, and I was able to pull my phone out and use my flashlight on my phone to get me out of the dark hole.
Right.
So, yeah, LifeProof.
LifeProof. Oh, this sounds like the story of how someone becomes a superhero. Like Spider-Man got bit by a spider. You fell into this crazy shaft with all kinds of weird stuff in the water.
Rustman? I could be Rustman?
Yeah. Well, no, you don't want to be that, but something like that. Anyway, I just watched
What were we talking about?
Yeah,
fresh roasted thing.
We had a fresh roasted. That was the question. I had to look.
Yeah, So Guido fresh roasted. Continue.
I smoked that cigar a little bit ago, and it's funny because that's one of the cases of it was I bought it just for me thing, and I smoked it, and it's a little Robusto from Nicaragua, and I bought it and I smoked it, and I called my guy and I was like, I want them all. I'm like, I just want to smoke them, and I've been like, my dad keeps taking them out of, like, we had about 1,500 of them. My dad'll come into my humidor and take a whole bundle of them. And, I mean, they're literally just for us to smoke. They're so good. And then Guido called me and he's like, "You coming to Cigar Circus this year?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Can you do La Barba?" And I was like, "I don't really have any." And I was like, "But I do have this cigar." And I gave them all up to him. So that's the story behind it.
So that's okay. So that's the fresh roasted. Okay.
And that's the first time you got lead poisoning.
Yeah.
That's
and sepsis and lost a leg. And
that's a crazy story, man. That's crazy. I'm scrolling through some of the.
I'm like reeling from the story right now. Like, can I ask you, like, was it one of those walks where you're just like having a solitary moment and like something bad happened and then something even worse happened in your life because you fell down this hole? Like, why were you out just walking through random steel mills in the middle of Youngstown at like midnight?
Because I mean, dude, that's what I do. I mean,
no, just stop right there. That's perfect.
You can just stop right there.
That's a perfect answer. That's a T-shirt. That's a Logan. We need a shirt in the Cigar Federation store, dude. That's just what I do.
Dude, that's just what I do, man.
That's freaking great. Oh my God. No, we're really leaving it there. You can't. That's it. You dug that hole. You're gonna stay in it.
I'm done. I have been in one before, but I have not dug it.
See, yeah, and no pun intended. So we got another question here. This was from Jason Myers, and this is an interesting question. This is, with the success of Lost and Found, has anyone approached you with cigars they wanted you to consider?
Yes, a lot.
Really?
I can believe that.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess that answers the question. I mean, yeah, it happens all the time.
So there have been cigars that people have approached you about, said, hey, we think this would be a good release for you guys, and you've said no.
Yeah, I mean, we have to say no to some. Some just aren't. And some we keep on the back burner, and we have to. My guy's a treasure hunter. Do a very similar thing as Lost and Found. They have adopted the negotiate model too, and they have 9 guys that they call them the Divine 9, and he has 9 guys that he'll send bottles to, and if not all 9 approve of it, then they won't use the wine. And it's kind of the same situation. Like, I might really, really like something, and send it to Robbie, and he might hate it, or send it to Jacqueline, and she might not like it, and we just have to pass. So it's one of those things where we all have to agree on it in order to make it happen. And it's not because the cigar is not good. It's just because it doesn't fit one of our flavor profiles, and we just don't think it's the right thing, and we're not going to do it unless we're all behind it 100%. And I think that 3-person kind of triangle works, kind of like our government, where you have that, I hate to compare it to that, but you have that system of checks and balances where one person's not one person is in charge of and doing all of it. And, it kind of tames us in not taking everything and not saying, okay, well, this cigar is good, we're going to use it. This cigar is good, we're going to use it. And while at the same time Robbie's doing that, at the same time Jacqueline's doing that. This has to pass through each one of us, and we have to say, okay, this is good. How is it good right now? Is it good in a year? When is it going to be perfect for us to release it? And that's another thing that we have to consider. Some of them are really good. We see a lot of potential on them. If they're still hanging around in 5 years from now, we might use it. But we'll see. It's one of those things.
So there's potential for you guys to maybe find a cigar and say, you know what, we like this, we think it's going to be great in a year, and buy them up now, store them away, and future release potentially.
Absolutely. Or we'll buy them, right from the manufacturer and ask them to hold on to it for us for a year, 2 years, or 5.
Do they charge you rent?
Excuse me. Not if we pay them. We're definitely paying a lot for that's what I was going to say before. We're paying a lot more than you would pay to get a cigar manufactured for yourself for most of these. We're not paying pennies on the dollar. We're paying premium for it. Oh yeah, I mean, because the brand expected to get a certain price point when it was released or when they were going to release it, and that's the price that they have in their head. And no matter how much negotiating we do and saying, well, you're never going to sell anyways, they think that they will, and we have to end up negotiating on a price and getting it to somewhere where people don't want to murder us, and so that's kind of where it is, and that's another reason why we don't use bands, because that cost is in finding the cigar, and it's in aging it, and it's in paying for them, and that whole thing.
Okay. So I've got a weird question here, and I'm gonna ask it. I don't know why. This is from Defetus, Defetus, whatever.
New person.
He says, "What's the over/under on Rob's face being 2 feet or less from the camera?" Am I close to my camera? I don't feel like I'm any closer than Tony is. I mean, Tony's better looking than I am, so maybe that's it. I don't know. Logan's far away and in the dark, which is perfect.
Hey, man, it's because his beard, it reflects all light.
Oh, yeah. No, it absorbs all light. It sucks.
Oh,
in
yeah.
That's why you're in the dark.
Hey, see, there you go.
I don't know. I don't know why. I don't know what the over/under is on me being. I guess it's about, what do you think?
I'm staying over. I'm saying 3 feet at least.
You're taking the over, huh? We could.
Well, no, you like to hunker over, Rob, unless you get real awkward, and then you'll go from here to.
That's what I get. When we start talking about inappropriate topics.
You start leaning back, so that's when you go definitely over.
All right. Well, I think I'm probably about 2 feet away. I guess I'm at arm's length. So, however long my arm is. It's a random question, but I figured I'd ask it. Go ahead, Logan.
So, question. So with Lost and Found, what do you think about people, especially with the earlier releases, Backdoor Bambi and some of the other ones, where you'll see him on the secondary market on Facebook groups or, going for maybe, you retail them at, let's just say $100, and then they're going for $200 or $300. What do you think about your stuff coming out and then people gobbling it up and then putting on the secondary market for double or triple what it originally was?
I mean, it's something we definitely never even thought about, and I'm kind of weird about it, I guess if the market wants to pay it, then the market can pay it, and it's one of those like classic supply and demand issues, I guess. I don't know, like, I wish that everybody could get them at a fair price, but if people want to pay, whatever they want to pay for stuff, then that's up to them. I don't know. I really don't know how I feel about it. I mean, I appreciate it. I appreciate that there's a lot going on, in that market. But then again, I've talked to a lot of people that have been like, when you release the cigars, I was at work or, I was driving somewhere and I didn't get a chance to buy them, and now I have to pay $400 for them. And I wish that I could be like, well, no, you don't really. But at the same time, I don't know.
That's kind of
yeah, I mean, the problem is we just don't have, there's just not a lot of cigars. We just, I wish that there could be, 10,000 pepper cream soda robustas, but they're just not, unfortunately. I mean, it's kind of the devil of the game we're playing, is there's just not that many cigars. And it's one of those things where they're truly limited because you can't replicate them unless you want to sit on them for 8 years.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. Almost verbatim, exactly what I was going to say. So you stole my comment, but that means that I had a good comment, right, Logan?
Yeah, no, it means you're a freaking genius.
I don't know about all that. Okay, another question here. This one's from Mike McCain, not John McCain. Mike.
I was going to say, is he a senator?
That's John, right?
And he was a prisoner of war too.
Yeah, didn't he? And he ran for president, but didn't.
And he got crushed.
Yeah, didn't quite make it.
Yeah, he's squirrely.
Okay, so how long does it take, and this is a question I wanted to ask earlier, how long does it take for you to get a new LNF release to market from the initial concept to shipping date? So once you guys find the cigar, how long is that process from we want it to we make it available to the masses?
It depends on the speed of the boat from wherever we're buying the product from. I mean, we literally have, like, if you saw my phone and Robbie's phone, especially Robbie's, the list of brand names that we've come up with just by talking on the phone, like, oh, that's a good name, oh, that's a good name, oh, that's a good name.
He showed me his brand book. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then we'll call Jacqueline and give her like 100 things to do, like do this. She'll come up with 100 different concepts. So then, right now we have basically a book of things that we already know, for some of the cigars that we've tried what we're going to do. And then once that so from when we find the cigar to when it goes on the market, Usually it takes 10 to 14 days, depending for, like, say we buy them from the Dominican Republic, it's about 10 days, 12 days for the boat. And we usually piggyback off of either barber shipments or other things, just to make it cheaper. So we'll wait until the big shipment's going out, and we'll just piggyback off that. So, yeah, I would say 14 days, and then Jacqueline, when we get the cigars in, Jacqueline will actually hand package them all. So that could take, depending on how busy she is, that could take 3 days, 4 days.
She packages all of them by hand?
Yeah, her and Robbie and her boyfriend, Jacqueline's boyfriend, do them all.
How did you?
Yeah.
Is that Cigar Pimp?
I live in Ohio, man.
Yeah, dude. He lives in the land of, broken down steel mills.
He got a big smile on his face when he said that, though. Did you see that, Logan? Yeah. Big smile.
Oh, dude.
I live in Ohio. I can't.
Well, I live in the land of 17% OTP tax, so the cigars don't ever like to come up to see me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with.
Which I'm totally fine with.
That's awesome. No, that's crazy. She can't package them all. So it's like, 2-3 weeks.
Usually. And the cigars are already ready to go. We smoke them when they land, just to make sure they didn't get any travel shock, and then we try to let them rest if they need a little bit of rest. Robbie and Jacqueline will usually send them up to me, so we have that. That's kind of where the travel time comes into play. So they'll send them up to me. I'll smoke them, and we'll talk about if there's any travel shock and if they're ready to send out or if they're not, and we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. So I'm scrolling through some of these questions here. This is another one from Defetus. I'm going to paraphrase this question here. Is any plans on releasing anything, which it's kind of tough for you guys to plan this, but on a larger scale? Something that maybe, like you said, if somebody was, I was at work the day you guys released it, so I missed it, maybe everybody can kind of get their hands on it because it's a larger release.
We're currently looking for larger batch stuff that has a little bit more of a quantity. If we like it and we think, as far as Lost and Found is concerned, if we like it and we wanna put it out there, we're probably gonna do it. But we are looking at finding less expensive, high quantity stuff if it passes the 3 of ours approval, if you will. So we've run across a lot of things that, like I said earlier, that we found that I've loved, but Rob or Jacqueline hasn't liked, or vice versa, that we could have done something with, but at the end of the day, we're literally just looking for cigars that we think are really, really good that you guys will all enjoy. And unfortunately, so far the only ones that we've found have been like 100 cigars, 1,000 cigars. But we'll see what happens. I'm sure we'll run across something here. But that's another reason why we're kind of slowing things down, and we're really trying to focus on finding the right cigar with the right amount of cigars for the right price. And it's kind of tough. It's tough, man.
Well, I can imagine.
It's fun.
You're dealing with. You're kind of at the mercy of what you find. It's not like you guys are going out and you're picking the blends of these cigars and you're rolling and saying I want 10,000. It doesn't really work that way. So most of like you said, the things that you've found in the past, you've had small releases, short runs. You want to do something on a larger scale. It's not for lack of trying.
Right. I mean, we always have our eyes open for somebody that has something somewhere that is going to say, all right, well, we have 5,000 of them. And that's why we put the numbers on the cigars, because we don't want to mislead anybody. We're not going to say we have 5,000 and have 10,000.
Yeah.
Like I said, you guys at Cigar Federation got every single package of racks on racks. I did not, nobody, and if you can hand count them if you want, But
Logan, you want to do that?
What?
Want to hand count them?
No, dude. There's someone at the warehouse that hand counted them. They were legit. They were on point.
Well, like you were saying, there's a finite number of these things. So if you guys want them, jump on. I'm kind of surprised that there's any left, to be honest. I think
there's not too many.
I think if people smoked this, they would all be gone. I'm telling you, Logan, I need like.
Well, that's another thing, people.
It's tough. That's tough.
I was gonna say people call me and ask me for samples, and I'm like, dude, if I send you samples, that's like a third of all the cigars I have.
Yeah, it's
you
tough.
want
And it's tough to ask a
I
consumer.
want to send them.
It's tough to ask a consumer to say, "Hey, look, buy this kind of on just on faith." Yeah, it's tough. So in a way, I mean, what you guys are doing is really, really cool. I mean, and it's very unique, obviously, to this industry. And I can see kind of where you guys got the idea from when you're talking about these guys who do it with wine and things like that. But you know, for a consumer to say, well, you know, I'm going to buy 10 of them for, you know, $90 or whatever it is, that's, for most of these guys, I mean, myself
That might be their whole budget.
Yeah, that's kind of a big nut to come up with, to say on something just on faith that I've never really smoked. And I'll look at the blend and I get an idea if I'm going to like it. But, you know, for the most part, they're buying it just on faith. So it's, yeah, I can, that's...
Right, and it's amazing that when a lot of people put their trust in us, and I appreciate that. It humbles me. You know, I never thought in a million years that we'd be able to sell out of any cigars. You know, we just thought they were really good, and you know, put them out there for people to smoke. And you know, and again, you know, on that buying by faith thing, it puts a lot on our reputation as far as, you know, if we released one bad cigar, you know, it could ruin the whole concept. It could ruin the whole company. So it puts a lot of pressure on us to make sure that we're constantly coming up with great things. And that's another thing that we have to consider when we're looking at those larger batch products, is every cigar going to be good? You know, if one's bad or we lose one customer, then we're done. And we're really putting our reputations on the line with doing it. But I think that's the fun part about it, because that's why I want to do it. I want people to tell me that these cigars stink. I want interaction. I want people to tell me what they think.
You want people to tell you that they're awesome.
Yeah,
of course.
But I don't want them to, you know, excuse the pun. I mean, how many times we use it, but I don't want them to blow smoke. Is what I'm saying.
I think that's the first time we've had anybody say that on this show.
Oh,
really?
What?
To blow smoke.
Maybe.
You know? Anyway. Okay, so we need to talk about the Siempre because we haven't talked about it. We've got about 5 minutes left. I want to ask one more quick question. This one's from Jason Raybuck. He says, what's the oldest cigar that you guys have released? If you can say it. If you can.
2006. 6, I think. Stouts were 6, weren't they? Pretty sure they were.
I can't remember. Hold on, I got the old cloth package. Hold on. This was my favorite release of yours, by the way.
Thanks.
It was, dude. It was just dead sexy. I might even frame this one day. Kind of like I expect you to put this in, you know, the one I'm going to send you, signed, XOXO, in your trophy room.
Yeah,
nice,
I will
dude.
put it in my trophy room.
It's cool, man. This was just done really well. I mean, yeah, 2006, you're right.
So that's the oldest. So 2006.
And this is formerly known as Boleto Caldwell Sears, formerly known as Prince.
Yes.
And so that was what? That was 8 years old when you sold it? When it came to market? 8.5? 9?
Yeah, when it came in the fall, right? So.
I think so, yeah.
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 Right
So
around
that's
8 or 9 years old.
Wow, that's kind of impressive. Okay, so we've kind of covered Lost and Found. Let's talk about Siempre because that's what we're going to be giving away to some of our listeners tonight. And that's a new release from you guys. So give us some background on that.
All right, so Siempre has nothing to do with Lost and Found. It's an actual production cigar that we're making. It actually really technically doesn't have anything to do with La Barba either, except for they're both mine. But for all intents and purposes, they're both La Barba and Siempre are both production cigars. Where Lost and Found is a fun project that we're doing that has nothing to do with either of them. If that makes any, I know I have a lot of stuff going on that's very confusing, but the Lost and Found again is just it's a fun project that we're doing that we find cigars, we don't make them. We've never produced anything, we've never blended anything for Lost and Found. Siempre, my dad, Matt Waris, and I blended with Henderson the last time we were down there. I had to go down there to clear up some La Barba stuff, and my dad had never seen Leo's or Henderson's factory, so I brought him and Matt down with me when we were down there, and we started messing around. My dad really likes Habano Walter Bajo Seco tobacco, and we were smoking pachuchas of that, and he's like, I really want to put this in a cigar, I really want to put this in a cigar. And then we went over to where they import all the Ecuadorian Connecticut stuff, and we were smoking Ecuadorian Connecticut shade-grown stuff. And my dad was like, I really like this tobacco too. So we went back and started messing around with some blends, and we decided to put some Corojo Ligero in there just to give it a little bit of oomph. So it's basically it's it's a good cigar to smoke all the time is kind of what we were looking for, and the price point is they're like $5.95 or $6 for Robusto, so the price point's right there. We're not trying to dress them up with boxes. We're not trying to dress them up with anything. I am putting bands on them because we decided we're going to put them in regular production. So there will be bands on them on the next run of cigars that we do. But it's one of those things where we really love smoking them. I guess it's kind of like a lost and found story a little bit, but we're actually putting them in production. We just really like the tobaccos. We didn't know if the cigars were going to sell, so we made a bunch for us and started giving them to people to see what they thought, and they really started to like them. So we're kind of just moving slow with it and having a good time, and it's done. They've done really well so far. Again, they're a medium body smoke, Ecuadorian Connecticut wrapper, Dominican Corojo binder, and then there's Corojo Ligero and Habano Alto Bajo Seco in the filler. But they're really good. We're doing 4 sizes right now. La Perla, which is a 4x44, Robusto 5x50, Toro 6x50, and Double Toro 6x60. So they're a little bit stronger than normal Connecticut, but they're a little bit lighter than a medium-bodied cigar. So it really gets that shade-grown expression that comes out, but it also gives you a little bit of a nice pepper from the Corojo, and then a ton of really nice sweetness from the Habano Alto Bajo. So that's the story basically behind that. We're just seeing how it goes, man.
And it's already sold out.
It's already sold out?
Yeah, I mean...
So you're telling me...
I have another order.
The first run, I mean.
Okay, so the first run is already sold out. So the cigar that you just described that I feel like I need to smoke because it sounds like it's right in Rob's wheelhouse, which is right here. And now it's already sold out.
Yeah, the SigFed store takes American Express, Discover, Visa, and MasterCard route. They'd be more than willing to sell you a Mazda 5-pack.
I didn't even know you guys had them.
We need to start paying attention, man. We don't carry the good shit, brother.
I know. That's the second time, man. Write that down, too.
Dude, we're overtime. Ding, ding!
Ding, ding. Okay, well, on that note, so the Siempre, you can get it at store.cigarfederation.com. You can get it at, or it's just, is that right? Did I say that right?
Yep.
Okay.
It hasn't changed.
It has changed. And, that's going to be an ongoing release, so that's cool. We're going to give some of those away in a little bit. We've reached the end of our AFRN segment. Tony, thank you so much for taking on some of these questions and giving us some forthright answers. We appreciate that. We've got about a minute. Let everybody know where they can find you and Lost and Found and all that online, where they can reach out to you.
Instagram, it's at Bellato, Bellatto. We're also at Lost and Found Cigars, at Lost and Found Cigars, I think. Facebook.com/Bellato, Facebook.com/LaBarba, Facebook.com/Lost and Found Cigars, LostandFoundCigars.com. I don't know, whatever. Take your pick. Caldwell for Preds, Jack Sears.
It's over. Yeah, if you can Google them, you can find them. So, and I'll make it very clear, I have no vested interest in this. Although I did not pay for this cigar, Logan sent me a couple of samples out of the kindness of his heart. But I will be purchasing some. If you haven't picked up the Racks on Racks, you got to go pick them up. If you like cigars that I like, if you follow my reviews, you read my reviews, you know what kind of cigars I like. This is right in my wheelhouse. This is a really good cigar. So I definitely think you guys should check it out if you like the stuff that I like. That's just my opinion. And on that note, we will wrap it up.
On that note,
yeah, thanks for everybody who tunes in on the Armed Forces Radio Network. Appreciate everything you guys do for us, keeping us safe out there. Everybody, stay safe and have a good week.
And we're fucking back. Yeah, sorry, Rob, about cussing. I'm sorry.
Twice!
Dude, I got all up at the moment, man. Ben Stein got me all itchy in my britchy, and I just got all fucking fired up, man.
Itchy in my britchy.
Yeah, dog.
I'll never need to hear that again.
I know, man. XOXO.
Yeah.
Dry eyes.
Now, we had a ton of questions that we didn't get to. There were a lot of people were asking, how do you blend and things like that. It don't necessarily apply to
Lost and Found.
To Lost and Found because I mean you didn't blend these cigars. And really, where did the name Lost and Found come from? Sweet asked that. I think it's kind of self-explanatory. I mean, these are cigars.
Third rock from the sun.
Yeah, that was Logan's explanation.
By analogy. Tell him the story because it's genius.
Well, I was asking because I mean, obviously we know that these cigars are they were pre-production. I mean, they were produced somewhere else a long time ago for whatever other reason. But I wasn't sure if that was common knowledge, if that was the kind of thing that you guys were, if that was your kind of slogan. Like, look, we found these, we didn't roll them, we didn't blend them, but they're great cigars. And so I asked Logan that, and he's like, well, and his answer was, well, recently they did a poll of 100 people, what's the third rock from the sun, and 52% got it wrong. And
Yeah.
I'm like, well, that doesn't really answer my question. It's a nice quote on how sometimes people aren't so smart, but it didn't really answer my question.
Yeah, but it kind of does, because you would think it's obvious, but
given the name, I mean, you step back and you look at it, it is obvious. But anyway.
Well, given the third name change, we finally got it right, I think.
Okay, so you went from what were
well,
the
impromptu was only supposed to happen once. Impromptu was only supposed to happen once, and then we found cigars, and we were like, well, this is going to work. So it was only supposed to happen one time. We found cigars, and we were like, we're going to release them. Same story, but it was like supposed to be just like impromptu. We did it. That's it. But then then once that happened, then we started getting phone calls, and we're like, oh, there's more stuff out there. So then we were like, oh, let's change the name. What are we going to change it to? And we all started spitballing each other. None of us could agree on anything. So I was like, look, let's just name it after a law firm for now, like how a law firm is named. Let's just call Bellato Caldwell Sears until we find something. So, because it all happened like that, and we weren't ready for it. So then finally, we needed an actual name, and so we ended up deciding on what could explain what we do to the best in the shortest amount of time to say possible. And we came up with Lost and Found, because I guess it's actually what it is. It's like a giant Lost and Found bin at the roller rink that's located in Central and South America that nobody's named.
No, it's fitting. I mean, it's perfectly fitting. It explains exactly this is what happened. And I can imagine, I mean, who knows with guys who go down there, and they're all excited they're going to make a cigar, and they're, flashing cash and doing this and saying, I want 10,000 of these, and then the guy rolls 10,000 of them, and then the guy who was going to pay for them just disappears. I mean, I can imagine, given the, I mean, especially 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago, that might have happened quite a little bit. I don't know.
And it puts a hurt. It puts a hurt on all these. A lot of these small guys that are manufacturers that are looking for people, that
Absolutely.
They're looking for people that want cigars made. If you commission 20,000 cigars out of a factory that only makes 100,000 a year, these guys are working off less than $1 a cigar, trying to make as many as they can. I mean, I don't know. That's not a. Don't quote me on that number. That was just like a random number off the top of my head. I don't know what they're making, but it really hurts them. A lot of those guys, for someone to come down and say they want this and then just disappear off the face of the planet. So it's helping them out. As long as the cigars are good, then we'll keep doing what we're doing.
Yeah, very cool. I think it's a really cool concept. I mean, I can imagine that some people are. I mean, based on some of the questions that we saw, there were some people that maybe don't necessarily agree with the idea, and you're always going to have that. But I think it's a pretty cool concept.
And that's fine.
Yeah, it's not everybody's going to be happy.
A lot of people don't have to agree with it.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, it's not, it's not. I think it's a cool concept. People might not think it's a cool concept. I mean, that's up to you to decide.
I
ask for a lot of trust.
Yeah, no, and you're right. We talked about that, but I can imagine some people getting a little bit disheartened when they see them on the secondary market. Where it's a 5-pack that was $50 is going for 98 or whatever. I don't know what the prices are, but I imagine that can be a bit of a turnoff for some people. So, but that's not your fault.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, we can't control that. I mean, I wish we could, but we can't.
No, when you're dealing with anything that's got a finite number, like tickets to a baseball game, there's always going to be
scalpers, dog.
There's always going to be scalpers. Always going to be scalpers. Okay, so we got some giveaways. I don't know how many winners we're picking tonight. I'm thinking. Based on the questions, I've got 3 winners in mind.
Okay.
Trip, Waldrop, and it's not just because.
Well, hold on, before you get all freaking squirrely.
Well, I'm going to announce the 3 winners.
Well, hold on, just before we do this, they're getting 5-packs, correct? Correct. Are they getting boxes, or what are we doing? How many cigars? Because we'll give away a good amount. We'll have people email me, or we'll do something fun. I just want to know what we're rocking here, so I know who's getting what.
Well, we're giving away the Siempre. I assume we're giving away 5-packs.
Okay, fair enough. And so we're just giving away those. Or are we doing? I mean, what are we doing? I'm just trying to figure this shit out.
Tony, that question's directed at you.
Well, we're doing Siempres. I have a pack of Holy Brails in my humidor that we could give away if you want. And I have a pack of... That's fine. Let's do that. We'll give away one of those, and we'll give away... I have one last 10-pack of pepper cream sodas. You want to give something crazy away. Robustos.
All right. So, okay, well, that's awesome.
And we could divide those up into 2 5-packs if you want.
Okay.
It's up to you.
Yeah, let's do that. So there's a 5-pack of the Holy Braille.
Yep.
Which is I love these names that you guys come up with.
It's a 4-pack, isn't it?
Well, whatever. A pack of.
I feel right here.
We're talking semantics here. Nobody's going to complain that they got 4. Well, actually, no. People probably.
No, they will. Trust me, they'll bitch up a storm.
Well, okay. So we've got some Holy Brails and then 2 5-packs of the pepper cream soda. Did I understand that correctly? And then some Siempres on top of that. Yeah. So the 3 winners that I've chosen, Logan, and you can send them whatever you want.
Well, they can email me, Logan at Cigar Federation, please.
Yeah, so email Logan at Cigar Federation. Trip Waldrop is a winner because he asked some good questions. Jason Myers is a winner. I feel like Jason Myers wins all the freaking time.
Dude, that guy didn't even have to fucking buy cigars.
No, we stock his humidor, but he asks good questions, and he's always at the show, so he earns them. It's not like we're just giving it to him.
I know.
And the other guy, he asked the weird question about me being too close to the camera, but he asked a couple other good questions. Defeatus, D-E-F-E-T-I-S, he's a winner too. So those are the 3 that I picked based on questions.
Okay.
And the rest of them, you want them to just email you?
Yeah, they can.
So give them some parameters.
Let's say everyone's watching me now, not including those 3. Email me, Logan at Cigar Federation, lost and found in the subject line. Must include your full name and mailing address. And then I want you to name, if you were going to name a cigar around a Ben Stein or Dry Eyes theme, what would you call it and why?
Dry Eyes, not Dry Ice, because he used to do the Dry Eyes commercial with the beach ball eyeball.
Oh, really?
That's what you're talking about, right?
No, he's like, Dry Eyes, Red Eyes, Clear Eyes.
Yeah, well, he did the clear...
I'm on drugs, or whatever.
The Clear Eyes commercial where it was like a...
It was the beach ball. And
the beach ball when it was an eyeball.
But it wasn't Dry Ice, it was Dry Eyes.
Well, that's what I said. We're saying Dry Eyes, not Dry Ice.
Yes, correct.
Absolutely. So let's pick a couple of podcast winners, too.
Okay, well, hell, let's just give away fucking everything,
Well, same question. Just pick 2 people from the podcast.
Okay, well, fine. Fair enough. But I'll let everyone email me, and I probably won't announce it tonight. I'll wait for... I'll get a bunch of... Well, no, let's wait. Let's get all the good ones in. I'll wait for people to email me.
Yeah,
so,
maybe post them up on SigFed. That'll be
well, no, but I want to announce at least... I'll announce at least one tonight.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
It'll be something good.
So didn't Ben Stein have his own game show, too?
He did.
He did. Win Ben
Stein's money.
Dude, I know so much about Ben Stein. It's you.
You know, he was was he a senator or something?
My ears are floppy.
He's a presidential aide to Nixon, I think.
You mentioned that pregame. That's why I brought it up. I don't think you mentioned that during the show. Ben Stein, if you guys don't know, he's from Bueller, something B-O-O economics.
Dude.
Voodoo economics.
You want to know a really funny story? I don't know if I ever told this story, but while I'm waiting for people to email, I'm gonna tell you the story. I was out in training. I think I might have told this, but I'll tell it anyways. So, when I was in India.
Another India story?
It's a good story, though.
But is it India?
It is.
It's really hot over in India right now.
Do you, you know what? Someone asked me a while back, they were like, dude, you go to India all the fucking time. What is there in India? I go, well, for starters, about 1 billion fucking people.
There's Indians.
Yeah, about 1 billion fucking people. But no, I was over there training, right? And, over there, it's just really weird because, everyone acts like they know what you're saying, but they really don't, then they fuck shit up. But, so basically, I've always check in. I'm like, so do you guys understand? You guys understand? And, they didn't respond. I was like, guys, you understand what I'm trying to tell you? They didn't respond. And I go, guys, I'm going to start calling on people. Tell me, do you understand the concept? Do you understand the words coming out of my mouth? And nothing. And I go, Bueller, dude, fucking crickets in this room. Except for Rajesh, who, you know, obviously he's educated, he's been in the U.S. a ton. He's back in the room fucking hysterically laughing. Like, busting up laughing, like falling out of his seat, and nobody gets it. I'm like, guys, do you guys not get what I'm saying to you right now? Nothing. So I literally pull up the clip on YouTube and play it, and I'm laughing my ass off. Rajesh is laughing his ass off. Dude, they didn't get it. And that's when I realized that Ben Stein's humor does not translate to the Indian culture.
We call that a cultural gap.
We call that a cultural gap
that was how you started your alienation of Indian people.
No, man, they love me over there. I'm like the white Krishna, man. For real, Krishna's like the pimp.
I don't even know what to do with that.
The Krishna's like the blue guy that's like a pimp that ate cottage cheese and got all the women. Dude, the women over there love me, man. Like, for real, I'm being serious. Like, it's fucked up, man.
The cottage cheese thing is... I get the blue thing, but the cottage cheese thing?
Yeah, he was a vegetarian. He's the blue god. He's a vegetarian, and he was a pimp.
Cottage cheese?
And his big deal was he ate these cottage cheese balls.
Like a literal pimp or a figurative pimp?
Well, like a pimp. Like, he had a lot of wives.
So
he was like a literal...
He was like a literal pimp, yeah. He had a lot of...
He wasn't like a pimp like me. He was a pimp like a pimp.
No, like, he didn't, like, backhand people or anything. He just did a bunch of ladies. And he was cool. Like, he had this whole tomato festival thing where they threw tomatoes. Dude, he's by far the coolest Indian god.
I've seen that throw the tomato thing. I want to go to that. Have you been to that?
No, but I really want to.
They do it in Italy, too. They throw tomatoes at each other in Italy, too.
I mean, it's really weird. It's, actually got it. Hold on.
Sometimes, Tony, it's best not to egg him on.
You don't feed the shark.
Don't
look at the lamp. See the lamp moving?
Yeah,
I'm trying to find it here. I've got it. I want to show you because it's so freaking awesome.
I'm not sure what Logan's doing back there. Luckily, this is our after-hours segment, so it doesn't really matter.
No, if I can find it, I'll show you.
Because the little explicit thing comes up next to when you download the podcast or whatever.
Yeah, so you fuck off.
So it's fine. So it's fine.
Where the fuck is that thing?
I've got it.
What are you smoking? Are you still making those? You're not making those anymore. Those are all done.
No, but I found a box.
What is it?
I have 2 left.
The Barber Red.
Dude,
I've
never smoked that.
I've got 2 left.
I'll return your email, Logan, or your real mail.
Deal.
What are they, Rob?
What's that?
Which ones are they?
I think they're just like a Robusto size. So I remember you sent me samples, and I reviewed it back in the day. And you sent me like 3 or 4 samples. I smoked one. I sent one to Catfish. I think Catfish actually did the review. Now that I think
he did. Actually did.
And I liked it, and I went and I bought a 5-pack. And I smoked the 5-pack, but I've still got 2 of the ones left that you sent me. But this was 2 years ago. So they're still in there. But Logan asked me for one. I told him to fuck off. I said, "You can't."
He pretty much did.
Yeah, basically. I mean, I reserve that term for when I really mean it. Fuck off, dude. You can't have that shit. So what do you got?
Have you seen the...
What's that?
Oh, yeah. What were you digging up, Logan?
Yeah,
Dude, what I was trying to do, and I can't find it, is I have this really cool thing I got over in India, and it's like a hand-painting canvas of the story of the tomato throwing things and how whatever, dude. It's really fucking stupid, actually, now that I think about it. But I've got it somewhere in this room of shit in here somewhere. I don't know where it is.
You need to hang that hand-painted canvas up along with the one that you got at Cigar Safari. That was sweet, man.
Dude, I do have that one, but that's in the other room because this room is so full of smoke. I don't want it to turn.
No, that little spot right behind. I'm drawing a little square on my screen just over your left shoulder. Right there. It would fit right there.
Yeah, I could do that.
Excuse me, it'd be perfect.
Yeah, that space is kind of empty.
Yeah.
I know.
Well, and take down the road sign. Come on, what are you, 12?
Hey, dude, first of all, ass. That's what we use for my wife and I to announce our first baby. It says bump ahead. I thought it was very creative. I stole that road sign fair and square, so fuck off.
All right, fine. It's got a meaning to it. It's not just like I stole a stop sign and I'm in college.
And my wife's like, I don't need this. And I'm like, well, that was like how we announced, Callaway, we were going to have Callaway. She's like, you don't want that? She goes, I don't want a fucking road sign hanging in my house, Logan. And I was like, well, okay, I guess I'll put it upstairs.
It's because your wife has some taste.
She's classy, and she married a fucking...
How she ended up with you, I don't know. But
dude, like I said, Krishna, white pimp. That's all I gotta say. All right. So Trip. Who was the winners again? You said Trip.
Trip, Jason Myers, and
Okay.
Defidus. I don't know who that is, but
Okay. Let me just see who we got here. I'm just going to read a sampling. Shooter says we should call it Bueller.
It's
Not a bad idea.
It's not bad, but it's not great. I love Shooter, but
Harley Holmes says we should call it Money, as in Ben Stein's Money.
That's better.
I like that one. That's better. Chris Bros calls it Mouth Drops.
Yes.
Like eye drops, but for your mouth.
Mouth, okay. James Appel says redness because of the high nicotine content in your eyes you can get. Okay, redness because of the nicotine high in your eyes that you can get from a damn good strong cigar.
Maybe. My eyes only get red like on the bus in Cigar Safari when it's just packed with smoke. That's when my eyes get red.
Alex Martinez is definitely pandering to Tony's, good side. He goes, I name it All-Seeing Eye because Tony has some great vision when it comes to finding hidden gems.
Oh, come on.
Dude, talk about a reach
I
around.
like that one.
You've
I like
got
that
something
one.
on your nose
That
there,
feels
buddy.
good.
You wipe that. You
feels
got some brown
good.
stuff on your nose there.
That felt good.
Okay.
The compliment bank. It's always good to fill up the compliment bank.
Okay, let me see
All-Seeing Eye.
here. Okay, D. Corona says Stein's Eyes. And then Swede says,
I hope he said a good one because he asked a lot of questions that we didn't get to.
4 eyes to see you smoke your cigar.
That's no good.
Okay, so which one?
The All-Seeing Eye was.
All-Seeing Eye.
It's brown nosing, but it's
Dude, it's so cheesy though.
That's the best part about it. I'll send him cigars anyways. Email me,
right.
I'll send you cigars anyways.
All right, so I mean, where the hell, Alex? You've sucked up enough. All-Seeing Eye, and then I'll post up the winners in the forum. I don't want to pick everyone tonight because I'm cool like that.
Yeah, post some of them up in the forum. That'll be fun.
Done.
All right, so we're going to wrap this up. I told Tony to be here for about 70 minutes, and he's been here for a little bit longer. And I drank this entire cappuccino stout from Lagunitas, which, if you haven't checked it out, local California, very good. But I have to pee, so we're going to wrap this
How far
up.
is that from me?
It's in Petaluma. It's not very far. There's a lot up there. My wife and I did the trip up to Russian River, and it's Russian River Brewing. If you follow beer at all, I mean, they do the Pliny the Elder, Pliny the Younger. They're kind of a big deal. And they have like 35 beers on tap that they make.
God.
And we get there, and there's a line. It was like a Thursday at 2 in the afternoon. There was a line to get in. So we finally get in. And my wife somehow gets a spot up at the bar. I don't know how she does it. And we sit down at the bar, and I hadn't ordered anything. I said, I'm going to go use the bathroom, and I come back. And she had ordered a flight of all their tastings. And it was like 28 tastings.
How fucked up were you?
We shared it, and it's like an ounce and a half pour of everything.
Oh, okay.
But every single beer was good. Every single one. Even beers that I don't like were good. And they turned me on sours. Tony, do you like
Dude,
sours?
sours are good.
I love sours, man.
Yeah, see, I never really liked sours until I had the sours at Russian River. The, what are they called?
Consecration,
Oh, yeah,
desecration.
Consecration. Yeah, those are, and it's funny, you can get, you can buy growlers there, and you can get a growler of anything except the sours. That's the only thing they don't do the growlers of. But yeah, there's that. It's right up in that same area. It's all in that kind of North Bay area, so it's really, really close. But anyway,
Cool.
I'm getting kind of spoiled with having all the Pliny the Elder in my fridge. It's so good, and you want to drink it. It's just like Lost and Found. It's ready to consume right now. So I'm almost out, and I have to go back up and get more. But anyway. We could talk about beer for hours, even though I don't know what I'm talking about. So we'll just wrap it up. Tony, appreciate it, man. Thanks so much for hanging out and being
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah, dude, appreciate it.
being generous with your time and your giveaways and the answers to the questions that we asked and everything. Really do appreciate it. Logan,
Anytime.
yeah, no, we appreciate it definitely, and you've been very generous with us, coming on, sharing our pairings as well. So we do appreciate that. Logan, who do we have next week?
Probably not someone as cool as Tony. Oh, look at me sucking up now, Alex.
Boom.
See, boom. Let me look here. Hold on.
I think we have. Is it? Who do we have next week?
I don't know.
You're supposed to be on point with this.
Oh yeah. Well, next Thursday we're doing Viaje and Doge.
Yeah, and yeah, that's for the Showdown release, so that'll be a fun show. And then I think the week after that,
I want to get.
Go.
I want to get one of those too. So
I got one.
Okay.
All right. Well, you got. First of all, it requires you replying to an email and sending me your address, unless you just want me to blindly send it up to some factory.
You send it to somebody. Just put Tony Bellotto on it. They'll know
Tony Bellotto would say Ohio. Figure it out. But I got one. I'll send it to you, dude.
Hole 4 on Rust Belt Road, abandoned factory.
Perfect. I was just going to warn you, like, yeah, we're still broadcasting live, so don't give out your address.
Hole number 6.
That's a crazy story, man. I'm telling you, that is an origin story for a superhero. I might have just come up with a story.
I think it is.
Yeah, I'll give you some of the royalties once it gets published. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks for tuning into the show. You can find us at CigarFederation.com. We'll be back next week with Viaje for very special announcements. That'll be fun. I think the week after we're doing the Moya Ruiz, the new release with the rake, so that'll be interesting too.
Oh, yeah, we are.
I'll have a review of that coming up pretty soon as well. Appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much. Tony, appreciate it. Everybody have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you guys next week.
Later, bitches.
Thank you.